I'm actually really curious, though, to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that good either. It actually kind of sucked when I used it, so I didn't think the ability was that great, and I think the Thor could use some work. Lycos has another question, and I'm going to answer this one. So if all the larvae come up pre-making units, are the ones that are hatching removed from the selection, or will it still have the selected hatching and not hatching? So what he's asking is, in Brood War you had 12 larvae, 12 larvae selected, and you produce like a couple overlords, then it'll show some eggs and it'll show some larvae. That's still the same in Starcraft 2. The only thing that's different is you'll press, let's say you have 12 eggs selected, you press ZZZZ, 4 of them will become eggs and the rest will remain larvae. So you can still produce more, and both the eggs and the larvae are selected. There's another question for Terran, but I know Dejavu probably wants to say something real quick.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the one thing about the Thor is not. I mean, you guys didn't really like using it, but playing against it, I was not really afraid of it ever because it was extremely easy to pick off. Like a group of like 8 or 10 stalkers can pick it off. I think in like 1 round or 1.5 rounds. It wasn't really all that much of a.
I think we lost him.
Oh, okay. So we lost HD. Nope.
No, we lost you.
Yeah, we lost you.
Oh, really?
Okay, anyways. Dejavu, do you have anything to add on to that?
No, that was really all for about the Thor. I did see another question in here. Someone's asking that Blizzard made maps that favor fast expand with like natural expansions behind your main, so you need to defend 1 choke point. Yeah, there were a lot of maps that way. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there were a couple maps that way that that you could go similar to 12 hatch, 14 command center. I don't know what the actual numbers on were them, because you start out with 6 workers. The numbers aren't exactly the same, because I know when I was fast expanding, I believe I threw up my Nexus at 13 or 14 against a Zerg player, and you can forge fast expand, and it's because it is really easy to wall off, so you don't really have to worry too much about Zerglings getting in as long as you're still blocking effectively on wherever your gap is. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know how I died there. I thought it was okay, but yeah, I do think that the fast expand is definitely still viable in a lot of those maps.
Here's a question.
I just want to make one.
They said ghosts are improved. What is your opinion about the new ghosts? And Phrank, you can say what you wanted to say and then answer that after.
Okay. Oh, now you're asking me questions, AHT. All right. Well,
Chim.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I do want to mention one more thing about the Thor. I did a. I forget whether it was a Terran versus Terran or a Terran versus Protoss. I know I did a lot of Terran versus Protoss matches. But Terran actually does not have a lot of mobile anti-air, to be completely honest. Their anti-air consists of Marines, Thors, and those... I forget what they're called, but they're air-to-air units that also transfer into ground-to-ground units. Vikings, thank you very much. The Vikings go down extremely quickly. They can be focus fired down very fast. Marines don't do a lot of damage. Thors, however, I will say, slaughter. I actually drew a picture recently about how you should be positioning your army against let's just say a Protoss army or just any army. Really, any matchup. I'm just trying to think here, but it is any matchup. In SC1 and Brood War, you really want to have you go tanks, vultures, and Goliaths, and then the minefield in front, and then the Protoss army or whatever army on the opposite side. In SC2, it's going to go Thors in back, tanks in front of them, Hellions and Medic Marine or whatever, or the Marines or whatever you want to put in front of them, because the Thors actually have a huge range when they are attacking against air, and they do so much damage. But you don't want them to get focused down, because if your Thors die, it's over. You don't have any more anti-air. The thing about the Ghosts, to be completely honest, I didn't think they were that fantastic. They have this ability called Snipe, which is just this single shot. They take their time, they sit down, they take a shot, and they get back up. And it actually, I tried it on one of my own units, and it actually doesn't one-shot a bio unit. So I have no idea what it's going to be used for. Hopefully they jack that up, or they just take that out. Yeah, it was a Marine, but it had the health upgrade also, so maybe that had something to do with it.
You'd think a snipe would be able to do at least 50 damage.
It was ridiculous. It just sucked. It sucked really bad.
Tell us about
the nukes.
nuke.
Oh, about the nukes? Well, I have nuked somebody, and it's instead of it being like a tiny red dot where they have to find it, it's pretty much like painting a target, like just this. You don't have a base anymore. You just have this giant red glowing mass over top of your base. So it's not that hard to spot. It does an extreme amount of damage, just like a nuke should be doing, but it's essentially nerfed because, sorry to use a WoW term there, but it's nerfed. I mean, it's just easier to spot now, and that's about it. You could just pick off the ghosts, I think, a lot easier with the SC2 ghost and the way it's nuked. But I don't know. I personally don't think it's that effective at all. I used ghosts maybe 1 or 2 times.
I actually have a little bit to say about the ghosts. I played a game, Terran versus Protoss, I think, and I was going with mass siege tanks, and I had sieged this guy's natural expansion down to the ground, and I was just kind of chilling. I thought I'd have a little bit of fun, so I do have a little bit of knowledge about ghosts and nuking. The way it works now is you have to build a ghost academy. Every ghost academy can hold up to 1 nuclear missile. So I built 2 ghost academies, and I brought out the Medivac, which is also the dropship. I dropped 2 ghosts off in this guy's main base, and I proceeded to nuke his main base, and it was really awesome. I don't think, if you're the Protoss player, I don't think you see that huge red beam of death, the laser beam from the sky. I think if you're the enemy player, you just see the little red dot, similar to Brood War. But if you're the ghost, then you'll see this huge red dot, and it's coming down, and basically the nuke is just completely awesome. It still says nuclear launch detected, and I just blew the hell out of this guy's main base. It was really awesome. But the Ghost Academy pretty much holds the upgrades for the Ghost as well as holding the nuclear missile. Still has the sight range, I believe, as well as the cloaking. And, of course, cloaking is extremely important if you're going to nuke somebody. But I think now that nukes might be used a little bit more in Starcraft 2 than they were used in Brood War. It seems a lot easier to use. You don't have to put it on your command center. You have your own specialized building for it. And they just overall seem a little bit easier. I think nukes might make a bigger impact, which is really awesome. I love the nuclear missile.
How expensive are they?
I don't remember.
I actually think they're the exact same cost as in SC1.
Dejavu, anything to say?
Oh, well, let's see. Well, since now we're talking about the super units and talking about ghosts and nuking and those kind of things, I think it's time
Mothership.
to talk a little bit about the mothership. Yes, the wonderful, wonderful mothership.
Ooh, I have something to say about that.
Well, okay, so for people who don't know what it is, or for whatever reason, if you haven't paid attention in any way, shape, or form, the mothership is extremely, extremely huge, extremely slow-moving. It acts like an arbiter in that it cloaks everything around it. It has 3 specific abilities. The one is a teleport that allows it to teleport to any building that you have. So it's kind of like the reverse recall. Instead of recalling units to it, it recalls itself to wherever you have a building. So one thing that I did a couple of times is I just would build a pylon in random place near my opponent's base where he wouldn't look for it, and then just warp my their ship over that way and then send it in with the rest of my aerial fleet. Has 2 other very useful abilities. One is, I believe it's called a vortex, and what that does, it just creates this ridiculously awesome looking black hole. The black hole just sucks everything into it that's in that area. It sucks all units, SCVs, anything that's there in terms of units, and sucks them into it, and then just lets you wreak havoc around it. One thing I did, I was testing it out, and one thing that you have to watch out for is that the vortex takes place, and anything that moves into that area will get sucked in. It's not like just at that moment. It doesn't work like stasis. So, like, stasis, you click on a spot, and it stasises those units. The vortex will remove those units from the game and also remove other units as they're moving into there, because I definitely lost a carrier fleet that way, and that was kind of annoying. So what happens is after 20 seconds or 20 seconds, I believe, or so on the vortex, all the units pop back right where they were, and the fight resumes. So it's sort of like a stasis in that it removes the units, but you sort of have to work around it a little better. And then the third ability it has, it can set up this force field-like thing that will slow down all units that are in there. So it'll make it so when you're attacking someone and into a mineral line or something, you can set it into like a choke that they have in between their buildings or